Hello friends, and this video we are going to discuss about the electrostatic. You might have heard about the electricity, electrostatic charge, charge bodies, positive charge, negative charge. So we are going to discuss all about that. So this chapter is called as electrostatic, means charge at rest. Charge at rest. Now the foremost, the important question is that what is charge? So the charge is defined as a physical quantity which can flow from here to there and from one body to another body. It has to be conducted because it doesn't spread on the insulating surfaces, but it spreads easily on the conducting surfaces, or the through conductors it passes easily. How the charge is created? So for that you have to go to the basic understanding of the atom and the particle theory of the matter, as you all might have studied, that says that every substance is made up of the atoms, and the atoms are simply a positively charged core which has proton, neutron, and this core is called as positive, and the electrons revolve around them in various cells. So this is the structure of a simple atom. So these tiny dots represent the electrons. They have the charge negative on that, and these others have, suppose, 8 electrons. And now this is one more shell where it has, suppose, 1 electron. So this looks like the example of sodium, but this everything is made up of this fundamental atom, and this atom you just see this made up of protons and the neutrons, and the protons are positively charged and the neutrons are just the neutral. So the overall the charge on the nucleus is positive. Now what happens that when two bodies, like suppose everything is made up of these kind of structures, and when two bodies are rubbed, like for example it has been experimented that when a glass rod, this is a glass rod, when it is rubbed with silk, like it is not that only the glass rod can produce charge, any bodies can, but this is the fundamental observations, and the people find these kind of substances, the glass rod and silk, easily around their homes. So you can also perform these kind of experiments. So when the glass rod was rubbed with the silk, so suppose this is my silk cloth, so it was observed that after some time the glass rod develops the property of subtracting small pieces of the bits and straws, and that was because the charge was developed on it. Now, so later it was just concluded with the help of different experiments that this charge, they call it as positive. And the idea was given that when two bodies are rubbed, then the electrons just gets transferred from the one body to another body. So the electrons gets transferred from here to this body, and this body becomes, silk becomes negatively charged, and the glass rod becomes positively charged. Now suppose, for example, that you all might have studied in the class 10 also, the charge on the electron is given as E is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. It means that one electron gets transferred, then it helps in the formation of the charge of magnitude 1.6 on 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So suppose that if in this process, just imagine one criteria, that the number of electrons transferred from this glass rod to the silk is 10 to the power 19. I am taking 10 to the power 19 because you can say that this one neutralizes this. So the Q, the charge will be Ne, that is 1.6 coulomb. So it means that if 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 is charged on one electron, and when the glass rod loses 10 to the power 19 electrons, charge on this one is 1.6 coulomb positive, and the charge on this one is 1.6 coulomb negative. And as you all might have studied the standard 8, 9, something like that, you all know that the positive charges repel each other, that the positive, negative, positive, negative. So the positive charges repel each other, negative charges also repel each other, but the positive and the negative attract each other, and positive, negative also attract. Means like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. There were different ways of transferring the electrons, like another example say that if an ebonite rod is rubbed with the fluorine, some another material, then also the bodies develop charges. In that case, the fluorine becomes the positive charge and the ebonite rod becomes negative charge. Now that is not our case, because we are not going to rub the two objects and then we try, because there are many other ways, modern ways by which the electrons can be transferred from one body to another body. And now only you have to understand that when a body loses electron, it becomes positively charged. When a body gains electrons, it becomes negatively charged. So this is the basic idea of the electrostatic. And now since you have studied that how the charges can be formed, its basic structure, that we clear the screen, and then we can say that how can you charge one body with the help of the. Back to the discussion. Now suppose I have a body A and I have a body B. Both are made up of the conducting materials, both are good conductors, but right now they do not have any charge on them. It doesn't mean that they do not have any charge, overall the charge is zero. It means that they have equal amount of positive charge and equal amount of negative charge here, and equal amount of positive and equal amount of negative charge here. Because if the bodies are made up of the atoms, and you know that the protons are always equal to the number of electrons, so the total charge of the positive in a stable condition, the protons and the neutrons, their charge just annihilate each other, and then we say that the body is neutral. So here in this condition we say that the charge on this body before rubbing, so the charge on the body overall A is 0 and here it is 0, so the total charge is also 0. Now suppose that if this body has lost some electron means suppose n electrons, so this body have lost n electron, so the charge on this body will become Ne, that is n is the number of electrons and the E is the charge on one electron, and this body, since it is losing, so this will become plus Ne. Now here also, like if this body have gained n electrons, then the charge on it will be Ne, and this is positive. Now just add them up again to find total charge is just 0. This is called law of conservation of charge, and it says that charges are neither created nor destroyed, only they are transferred from the one body to another body. So here you see that the total charge before the transfer of electrons is 0, and total charge after the transfer of electrons are also 0, so total charges are conserved. Now we are trying to understand another phenomena, that can we charge a body with the help of another body? Well, yes, there are two ways. One is called the charging by conduction, and is called charging by induction. So the method 1 is conduction. Conduction means if you have a body which is already charged, and if you touch, like suppose I have another body here, that I have a body this, and this body is positively charged, and if I bring this body in contact with the body A, then this body A will also get charges according to the size or surface area of this charge. The total charge will be distributed in the ratio of their areas. So this body also becomes positively charged. So when you conduction, like when a body, this one charging body is direct in physical contact with one another, and that's why the charges gets transferred from this body to this body, and this also becomes the positively charged. It means if I have this body as the negative charge, like this one, which has the negative charge, so in conduction this will also become negative charge. So with the help of conduction, if you bring a positive charged body with another body, then that body will also, this positive charge will develop a positive charge in that conducting body, and the negative charge will develop the negative charge in that conducting body when they are kept in contact with one another. But in the case of induction, the criteria is little different. So now just let me go to that understanding. I have to clean the screen again, so just give me one. Okay, now here we are going to discuss charging by induction. Charging by induction. So in this case, what happens that suppose this is a body which we are twice a good conductor, and now it is insulated from surface over. So this is insulated stand. So this is insulating thing, and this body is a good conductor of charge, but right now it doesn't have any charge on it. So this is neutral, but it is a good conductor. Like if you bring a positively charged body or negatively charged body towards it and touch it, then this body will definitely get those charges. Now here, since we are understanding charging by induction, it means the body which will transfer charge or it's causing, there should not be any physical contact between the two bodies. Now suppose I bring a positively charged rod. This is my rod, and which is strongly positive charge. This large number of electrons have been removed from this, so this has acquired a huge positive charge into this. Now in the beginning only I told you that you have to understand charge is a physical quantity, something which can flow from one body to another easily without any problem. And now you see this neutral body, it means it has the equal proportion of the right positive charge and the negative charge. Means it has equal amount of positive charge and the negative charge, but that is not seen on the surface because they are just balancing each other. So when this body comes close to this body, then since this body is positive charge and this body have equal amount of positive and negative charge, so the positive charge will be repelled, so they will accumulate on other side, and the negative charge will be pulled by this body. So it means this body already had the equal amount of positive and the negative charge, but the presence of this rod, which is positively charged, is just separating these two charges in such a way that this negative charge, the opposite charge, comes closer to this rod, and the similar charge just or you can say pushed farther from the end. So it goes like this. Now just assume that if I connect this body here, this end, with ground. So now you know, just if you see logically, that the positive means this body have the lack of electrons, means this is the deficiency of electrons, and these are just electrons. You can say there's nothing wrong in that. So now electrons will just come from this body, electrons, and they will try to neutralize this. So after this, all these positive charges will become zero, and when you disconnect this one, then still this negative charge persists over there, and this will spread on its surface. So this is how you charge one body. But induction, when you are bringing this positive charge, you are inducing negative charge into that, and when you bring a negative charge, similarly you will induce the positive charge here. But in that case, the electrons, instead of going from the ground to the body, it will move from the this one to this. But since we have understood that the charge is something which is called positive negative, so now if you see that on the ground's position, the potential of the ground is zero. So when your body is, like suppose this is the previous case again, which we discussed, that suppose if this is my positive charge and the charge is, this is charge, so you know that positive is greater than the zero. So it means in this condition you can assume that this positive charge flows to the ground, and that is the conventional current. This positive charge flowing from here to the ground. But if it is negative, then the conventional current flows. The current flows from the ground to this, and this way it neutralizes that. So the idea is that this is how you get the body's charge. So this is all about how you get. In the next video, we'll discuss about the Coulomb's law, that is the fundamental of the electrostatic.